All right, guys, welcome to the lunch break here at Fish North, Georgia. It is Hump Day, Wednesday. Heck, I believe it's the 7th, 8th. I don't even know what day it is, but I know it's Wednesday and I know it's Hump Day. And so glad you guys could join us as you come aboard, whether you're on TikTok or YouTube, Facebook. Appreciate you guys joining us today. Man, I tell you what, this week it's been going by fast, but also at the same time, it feels like it's been just dragging along. I actually saw some sunshine. In fact, currently right now it's partly cloudy again, but there was some sunshine in here in North Georgia today. What's up, Coleman? About to head to the airport for Alaska. You taking Abby with you? You taking Abby with you? I want to know if she gets to go to that. And you guys on TikTok, please jump on with your comments and all that. Got a lot to talk about. Got a lot to talk about. What's up, Doc? Man, last night the Livewell was fantastic. Dillon Falardeau, and I'm glad I said his name right. He joined us here last night, and I actually learned some stuff. We'll talk about a little bit from him today, and Farmer and Doug Rice, John, all you guys right there. Hey, look, appreciate you joining us. What a story last night, Clint. I'm telling you what. Unfortunately, she isn't able to join this trip, but we will go in the future. Pretty cool. What's up, Tracy Coker? Yeah, listen, when we had Dillon, when we said Dillon was going to be on, I didn't know. I didn't know that much about him other than what I saw on the stats and social media and all that. But to hear his story, man, it was really cool. Really cool. And that, I tell you what, you need to go back and watch that because that right there, 100% is a great show about perseverance, about actually taking a chance to follow a dream and to go for it. What's up, Rusty G? 1989. Is that the year you were born, dude? Because you're making me feel old. Because I graduated in 90. All right. So I graduated in 1990. My brain is still stuck on 18, but the body definitely is. Okay. So, yes, you young and you. I'm jealous. Wished I was back in 1989. 100%. Uh, I don't, if I knew now what I knew then, if I knew then what I know now, I say you say it. Man, boy, life would be different. But I tell you what, appreciate you joining us. I graduated in the early 80s. Chuck Bowser, RCDD Tech. Well, there you go, dude. So we're pretty much same generation. The 80s was better. This is the best generation. I don't care what anybody says. The music was better. Don't we all wish that? Yes, sir, Tracy Coker. Farmer was born in 89. I'm telling you what, crazy, crazy. Fred Ashcraft afternoon ready for a 4-day weekend. Livewell was great last night. It was. You guys need to go back and watch that. And I can't wait to start pulling some shorts from it this afternoon. But it was an absolute great conversation. Crazy world. My neighbor is from Rhode Island. Yeah, I didn't know he was from Rhode Island either. Tracy Coker, you graduated in 89. I graduated in 90. I'm watching it now. I hear your voice in my sleep as much as I've watched this podcast. James Ramsey, I don't know that I'd be telling everybody that, but I hope when you hear my voice, son, it is soothing and you fall asleep nice and peacefully. Clint's a 98 feller. What's up, Houston Binkley? And Alex, appreciate you guys. Alex, hope you have a great day at work today, dude. Seriously. So what we're going to talk about today, and again, it's like any day. We got the best. He gave me one of them faces in the comment section. What we're going to talk about today is, of course, what I've got planned on talking about today is Slick Johnson getting banned, and not necessarily about Slick Johnson being banned from Bassmaster, but some of the responses to it. Doc Holliday graduated in 1967. Well, okay, Doc, I'm glad you're with us, baby. I'm seriously. I'm very glad you were here, man. And you're always one of the most consistent viewers we got. So, you set the standard, Doc. You set the standard. Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to recap some of the stuff that Dillon talked about last night because some of the tips and techniques that he talked about last night really had me scratching my head, kind of opened my eyes as to some things as to what he was doing. And we're going to talk about that. And then, of course, that's the plan. But just like yesterday, I had a plan. And we can go anywhere you guys want to go. So feel free to jump in if you got something you want to discuss. But that's the plan. And we will see if we can at least try to adhere to it. But you know how it is. This is a free-for-all. So, as normal, let's get started. I don't know. Now, see, Farmer, I don't know. We might disagree. We might disagree. Bassmaster has become the most petty league to fish with the ownership. I don't know because I'm looking at it from a different perspective. But that's something we can talk about. That's something we can talk about. But let's do the day in history. So you guys have that piece of useless information to talk around the water cooler or whatever with today. 1945, boys. 1945. On this day in history, the atomic bomb was dropped from the U.S. B-29 superfortress Enola Gay on Hiroshima, Japan, resulting in an estimated 140,000 deaths. The bomb was codenamed Little Boy. Now, you don't think about, I mean, we all know about it. We all know it happened. And you can view it a couple different ways. It was a good thing that it ended, pretty much kind of ended the war. But at the same time, it opened up to what we deal with today. And so pretty interesting that happened today. Not really too much need to go into that because it is what it is at that point. But yeah, the atomic bomb, first one on this day in 1945. Now, let's jump into our Gen Z word of the day. And some of you young boys, James Ramsey, USA, reigning fireworks building champs. I guess so, boss. I guess so. Depends on how you look at it. So you guys, especially Clinton, you got to help me if I'm pronouncing this right, because this is Clanker. Those are 20. No, it's not Clanker, and I don't know what that is. So I need to write that down and learn that one. It is, I'm assuming, guap. 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 Unless I'm doing it wrong, because, used to, first time LOL at the end of something, I said lol in front of my family one time, and they just roasted me, like just dying, because I was so uncool that instead of saying LOL, I went lol. But guap. Guap is what I am wanting to get to. Okay. Oh, guap. That money, honey. Clint's on it. Rocks box speakers. He's laughing at me on TikTok. Money and lots of it. Money and lots of it. So if you want that guap, oh Lord, don't say that, Danny, you'll get banned. I hope not. I hope not. We'll find out here shortly. So I guess not. They didn't kick me off just yet. Or is it just me saying I want that money? All right, that money, honey. So yeah, that is your Gen Z word of the day. Guap, I guess. Man, I tell you what, I see those words every day, and I go through it. That sounds like the chunk on your TP when you do the first wipe. Oh, good Lord, Coker. I'm an older millennial. I don't get this Gen Z slang. I don't get it either. My wife told me the other night to quit gaslighting, and I still ain't figured out what that means. Like, I just give her this dumb look. I thought he meant WAP. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, so I'm not even going down that one, Alex. Good afternoon, folks. Cody Campbell joins us. And you guys over there, hey, listen, if you're on TikTok, make sure you give us a follow at FNGO. We would appreciate it. And you guys, too. I know most of you guys already subscribed to the channel. I'm not even going to go there, Clint. I see that comment. But, if you are subscribed, make sure you click that notification bell and all that. George Outdoor Guy, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Happy Wednesday to you. I'm so glad it's Wednesday. My brain, I fell asleep last night at 3:45 because when I do a live well, I go home and my brain just starts working and it won't shut off. 3:45 is the last time I remember looking at the clock. And I had to be up and in Dawsonville this morning at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. to meet with the guys from Groove Tackle, which was absolutely a good meeting. And Doug Rice, never a dull moment here, boys. That's right. And NC Bass Puller, the best part of the workday. Well, man, thank you very much. I'll use it to embarrass my kids when they start talking like that. Do it. But man, my brain couldn't shut off last night from the conversations and just kind of, Dane Hunter, we know that's a lie. You don't have a brain. What am I like? I'm like the Tin Man. No, he don't have a heart. Was it Scare? Which one of them in the Wizard of Oz didn't have a brain? Was Scarecrow? One of them was dumb. I can't remember which one it was. And one of them didn't have a heart. Been a long time since I seen Dorothy on the Yellow Brick Road. All right. I just know there's a lot of little people involved in that movie. I said little people. So anyway, here's what we're going to talk about. Let's jump in to the Slick Johnson thing. All right. Now, let me start this off by saying, let's see. Okay, Aaron Parker, why didn't I get a notification for lunch today? Guess I'll have to start setting an alarm. Yeah, man. Well, hey, listen, you know what's going to happen every day at 12. Every day at 12. Scarecrow. All right, Scarecrow didn't have a brain. So y'all can call me Scarecrow. That'd be my new CB handle. You know, back in the day, us old guys, our dads had CBs. My dad's CB handle, and I never got it explained to me why, but he was called the Frogman. I don't know why. I look back on it now, and I think it's kind of dumb. But he was the Frogman. Scarecrow needed a brain. Lion needed a heart because he didn't have any courage. There you go. You can tell the guys that are young have kids. YouTube is weird with notifications sometimes. All right, but anyway, let's jump on Slick Johnson. Okay. Now let me start off by saying this: Slick Johnson and I are friends. Okay, so this is more about the responses, not actually what Slick did. All right. If you know Slick, you know how he is. He is going to press the button. Was your dad in the military scratch fishing? Yeah, well, he was in the Marine Corps, and then he got put out for medical issues. But yeah, he went through Parris Island and all that, so maybe that had something to do with it. But yeah, 1972, he joined the Marine Corps, and so my first Christmas was spent in San Diego. I don't remember it, but that's what my mom told me after he got out of basic. So anyway. For those that don't know, Slick put out a video yesterday talking about being banned, so to speak, from Bassmaster because of some of the things that he has been saying in the past about Bassmaster. All right. And listen, Slick is that guy. Slick is very vocal. Slick will push the buttons. That's his shtick. Slick likes to stir the pot. Funny guy. Actually, listen, I talked to Slick a good bit. And every time I see him in person, he's just as nice as can be to me. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. Now, a lot of what he does is an act, okay? Now, when I say an act, it's like he's pushing the buttons on purpose. He's the master of gaslighting in our industry. Okay, well, he might be that. I still don't know what gaslighting means, all right, Cody? I still don't understand it. But Slick is what Slick is. Now, he had his son fishing the high school national championship. I like his satire post. Absolutely. So they allowed his son to fish, but at the weigh-in, this is just long story short, got pulled aside, was told by Bassmaster that he had violated their code of conduct, and in a sense, technically flaming the fire. Junior Albers, appreciate you joining us on Facebook, buddy. But I guess in a way, he's banned. Okay, so Frogman was a nickname for underwater demolition teams in the Navy during World War II. Definitely not, my dad was not in the Navy and definitely wasn't one of those guys. I think it's having something to do with North Georgia. I'm sure it does. But anyway, so he puts this video out. All right, hold on a second, Dane. You do. I'm gonna read Dane's thing right here because this is exactly where I'm going. We have freedom of speech. I am sworn to protect that right. However, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Every action has a reaction. Some are right, some are wrong. Bass has the right to protect their brand. We have to draw our own conclusions to support or not support either party involved. Yes, got banned from being a boat captain, right? Yes, something like that. Something like that. But he got banned in some shape, form, or fashion. When I see a video like that, the first thing I do, I instantly go to the comment section. Instantly, because as an admin on he's not under contract with Bass. So no, he's not. But still, everybody needs to understand that Bass is a private entity. Okay. But I'll go into this and on Facebook, and we'll get into the Facebook thing too. Pretty much banned from Bassmaster events, I believe is what Messick said. I haven't talked to Slick personally yet, so I don't know 100%. But you get these guys that say freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. Now, I'm going to read you just a couple of comments from his TikTok side that I pulled out just so you can understand my argument. Okay, what I'm going to say with this. Free speech is an absolute American right. Stand proud. Freedom of speech isn't so free. First Amendment sounds like a lawsuit. Sue Bassmaster for pain and suffering caused by ignorance and denying you your free speech. Okay. So my thing is when I see comments like this, my first thing is how many of you guys out there could quote the First Amendment right now? And if you could quote it, how many of you actually understand it? It ain't a censorship situation at all. So here's the First Amendment, guys. Here's the first, yeah. Thad Moody, you're right, buddy. That's where I'm going with this. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, there's your little freedom of speech clause, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, here's where a lot of people mess up. A lot of people mess this up. The First Amendment applies to government entities, federal, state, local. The First Amendment does not apply to private companies. You can say whatever you want to say. You got that freedom, but you do not have freedom from the consequences of that when it becomes to private entities. So Bassmaster, whether you agree or disagree, they have the right to ban someone based upon their speech. Facebook has the right. TikTok, if you say the wrong thing, they cut your live. Facebook, you say the wrong things, they put you in Facebook jail. Google it. Google it. I did. And here's exactly the question I asked. Does free speech apply to customers? Because in the video, Slick said all the anglers, all them are customers of Bassmasters. That's why I put customers. Does free speech apply to customers of a company? Dane says a private business has the right to refuse service to anyone at any time. The First Amendment does not apply to private companies as it is not a government action. Private companies are not considered, quote, state actors, quote, and are not directly obligated by the First Amendment free speech clause. This means that private businesses can set their own rules regarding speech on their property, and pay attention to this because this is your customers, within their services or among their employees. Now, I'm not even arguing whether Slick should be banned from Bassmaster or whether Bassmaster is weak or falling apart. I watched the comments, and I know that some of these people vote. All right. And I know good and well they don't understand what they're saying when they just say First Amendment and they don't understand the actual way the amendment reads or what it's supposed to be. Now, just because Bassmaster can restrict what they say doesn't mean they should. Again, I'm not saying right or wrong. Slick's going to say whatever he wants to say. It might make them look really bad, but it's the people in the comments section. I had a guy one time, because I run the FNGO group page. Let me read Rob's comment. Let me scroll back up because I missed Rob's comment. You guys are commenting real quick on his. We have become so petty and weak with people's comments, whether it's true or not. If you take a deep look into people commenting, majority rarely fish, don't have a high school diploma, or live with mom. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. Farmer says, I respect both parties. Slick called out Bass for some stuff that he thought was unjust, and he is going to reap the consequences of his actions. Yes, he's going to. To me, Cody says, just because Bassmaster can restrict what people say doesn't mean they should. To me, it's a bad look because instead of addressing what they're saying, you're just trying to sweep it under. Atlanta Outdoors goes, he's talking about gaslighter. Think of a gaslighter as a word twister that makes people question their memory and sanity. Okay, cheaters gaslight their spouses into believing nothing happened and the accuser is wrong. It's manipulation. Got it. Just like FNGO can ban people from this chat, so can Bassmaster. Unfortunately, as part of life, it is our rights to keep things civil as needed. All you guys are correct. Gaslighting isn't real. You're making it up. All these things are correct. But like I had a guy one time come in on the group page, and I will allow civil debate for a while until it gets personal. And I had a gentleman get personal one time. And so I kind of messaged him behind the scenes and I said, dude, like, listen, I appreciate you debating and all that. And I appreciate you being on the page. Just, you don't need to be insulting the guy, and just kind of keep it clean a little bit. And the first thing he hit me back was, I got the freedom of speech to say whatever I want to say. And guys, I honestly was fishing a tournament on Lake Lanier when I got this notification. I had people texting me about this guy. So I'm stopping what I'm doing in the middle of a tournament. I'm like, sir, no, you don't. You know, whatever you want to say. This is the land of Dan, and you do not have it. And you either A, are going to chill and be civil, or I'm going to kick you off. And then I got called everything from a flaming liberal to all these other things. You know, I mean, and I'll just be honest with you. I've never voted for a Democrat my entire life. I know some good Democrats, but I've always voted Republican. But he went instantly into saying all these things about me. And even after that, I was like, dude, listen, you just need to chill. I gave him 2 or 3 chances. And then, you know what? He said again, I said, all right, bud, you're gone. I've only had to ban 3 people from the group page in the entire existence. Kneel to thy Lord, land of Dan. That's right. Yeah, listen. And I tried to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. Danny, you fishing a tournament Saturday, off topic, but yes, I'm going to fish with Kevin Underwood on Lake Lanier. Me and Kevin are going to fish Saturday. But they instantly go into this freedom of speech thing and think that they can say whatever they want to say, and you have to let them. One of them was my fault. Well, Alex, that's one guy, but this was another one. No such thing as a debate nowadays. Doesn't fit all parties. Debate doesn't fit all parties' narratives, so it's just an argument now, no matter the circumstances. Broke Bass Boys. This is my 4th account. I was all 3 bands. No, you won. What derby? I want to fish. Cooper McDonald put on Facebook that he was throwing a little derby going out of Little Hall. So check that out on Facebook. The real Michael just hopped in. It seems like it's saucy in here. No, it's just these guys. I have a few pet peeves, not many, but one is people that say things that I'm just kind of like, when they scream First Amendment, and they don't understand how it works. Okay, they don't understand how it works, and then when you try to tell them, listen, you can't do this, then they get all, you know, I don't even know how to describe them. So again, you know, Slick is Slick. I love Slick. Let me just speak just straight. Me and Slick got a good relationship, and I know some of the stuff, and you know, he's told me some stuff behind the scenes. How about the American Wrangler? Here's a debate for you: War Eagles or Bulldogs? If you're talking about Georgia, then it's the Dogs. I guess that's what you want me to. Yeah, it's always the Dogs, man. But there's still SEC teams, but yeah, always the Dogs. Dane Hunter, this is just like the FFS debate. You're gonna have people on both sides either use it or not, support Bass or not. I enjoy watching Slick. However, Bass has been around a lot longer than Slick. Bass will most likely be around a lot longer after Slick is gone. Too many people get hung up on the topic of the day, for sure. People tend to put their mouths in motion before they put their brains in gear, 100%. It's always the people that would fold like a lawn chair if things were about to get physical. Justin Dover says, War Eagle, never heard of her. You were War Eagle, but I agree, SEC Bulldogs. Hey, listen, I root for every team from the state of Georgia. The Jackets, Georgia Southern, Mercer, you name it. I don't care as long as it's quality football or whatever's going on. But anyway, Gamecocks coming this year. No, they're not. Messick. Yeah, listen, I will give you this, Messick. I believe at the end of last year, I would have put South Carolina in the playoffs. I would have put South Carolina in the playoffs over some of the other teams. But, let's see. American Wrangler. No, I'm talking about high school, my friend. Good grief, dude. You know I'm old. Yes, I was a War Eagle. No, okay. All right, American Wrangler. Now you got me. Okay, now I know what we're talking about. So, it's been a hot minute, dude. And it's Wednesday, and I'm working on 2 hours of sleep. Now I'm following you. I went to Forsyth County High School. My 10th and 11th grade year. My senior ring, even to this day, is a bulldog because that's what it was. But let's see, sophomore, junior year. My senior year, South Forsyth opened, and I was given the ability to make a choice. I was dating someone that was going to go to South Forsyth at the time. So I moved, plus it was only like 2 miles from my house. So I moved over to South Forsyth. I graduated as a War Eagle. I get your question now. I would say, be honest with you, it's been so long, I'm both. But I get it now, man. I totally did not know where you were going with that. Let's see. Anyway, what you guys talking about over here? Anyone who has a Bassmaster membership is under contract with them. I guess so. I didn't think about it that way. But again, like I said, it's not about it's not about whether Slick's right or wrong, because Slick's gonna do what Slick's gonna do. But I'm telling you, and Bass, you know what I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna reach out to the brass at Bass. I think I'm friends with a few of them on Facebook. I think I'm gonna reach out to them and see if I can get one of them to come on the podcast and just say, listen, let's give you guys a platform, because I know they got their own thing, but let's give you guys a platform that's not under BASS to actually talk and see how it goes. Because everything Slick says could be 100% true, and they could just be trashing and everything. But I don't know, man. If you think Bass is falling apart, look at the high school and the college level. There's kids coming in Bass, so I think it's doing fine. I think we see problems at the elite level and all. It's just magnified bigger. But just look at high school and college fishing for bass. I think they're doing just fine. But I'd like to just get one of them on. Just say, hey, listen, come on here. I'm not Mercer. I'm not going to candy a question. But at the same time, I'm not going to let anybody just bash you in the comments. There's always going to be drama. It's whether you can handle the criticism or not. Most don't. Most are keyboard warriors. At the end of the day, I do me, you do you. But I don't mind throwing hands, says Uncle Rob. Right there for sure. I get it. But it's these people. That don't understand. They don't understand the First Amendment. It's just like certain people in our society that totally don't understand the Second Amendment. Okay? They don't understand the Second Amendment. And then we could just go right down the list of amendments. And I would say most people don't understand any of them, nor take the time to even read it. What's up, traveling fisherman? How you doing, buddy? Like I said, got your number and all that. Appreciate you doing that for me yesterday. We're gonna stay in touch. But that was the first thing. I listened to Slick's video and I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. But I instantly went just like old Uncle Randy B. I don't understand why the Federal Reserve is a private entity. That is a rabbit hole we ain't got time to go down. But I understand what you're saying. And a lot of people will talk on a keyboard. But once you see them in person, it's a different thing. They don't want they don't want trouble. 100%. But anytime I do this with Randy's videos, like I don't care at all what Randy B is talking about in his video. I'll click on it and I'll immediately go into the comment section. I just there for the comments. Because that's where the entertainment is. You know what he's going to say already. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of knew where Slick was going to go with it already. Once he started talking, I knew what it was all about. Not that he called and told me or anything. I just knew. You can kind of get the lay of the land in the first minute and a half of a video. So I just went straight to the comment section. Randy B, straight to the comment section to see how many blind followers he's got and see if there's that 2 or 3 guys that say that. But these First Amendment guys, dude, I'm telling you, understand it. It ain't got anything to do with private companies. And so today, guys, as you get out there, be nice about it, but educate somebody when they say, we got freedom of speech. Ask them if they really understand what that means. I actually kind of like Randy when he sticks to talking fish, and whenever he starts chasing geese, I get annoyed. Let's see. Today's video, he was talking about, good grief. It was like developers and all that. How are y'all's high school bass trails ran out there? Oklahoma's bass trail seems very disorganized. Charles Greer on TikTok. From what I can tell, here in Georgia, they're run very well. Very well. I mean, you get a complaint here or there. We got some that are um, GHSA, the high school has those, and then we have some that are kind of a little bit separate from the high school and everything. I can just tell you this: they're crowded. There's a lot of participation in the state of Georgia. As far as specifics, I'm not real sure. My boy, he's out of school. 23 is my youngest, and so I'm not privy other than what I hear about in the shop, people talking on the podcast and stuff. The only thing I like about Randy is he speaks highly of the NPFL. Yeah, but you know what, Rob? He does. He does. But that's just because of, the obvious decision the NPFL made. I personally don't think at the end of the day, Randy cares anything about the NPFL other than that they don't have forward-facing sonar. I could be wrong. That is an opinion of mine, and I have been wrong before. But I honestly think, you know what? They're doing right. It suits my agenda. I like the NPFL because I like the anglers. Has nothing to do with whether you guys have forward-facing sonar. I like the anglers. I like some of the anglers on the elites that I know now personally, and I'll watch them because of a connection that I've got made. I got to start watching the MLF a little bit, but I don't know any of them guys. We've had a couple here and there scattered on the show, but I don't really know them as well as I do the elites and all that. So maybe that's my fault. Let's see. I wish they'd had high school fishing when I was in school. I graduated in 2018, and they got a clay shooting team and a fishing team in 2019. That's the way it goes, my man. Marshall Stamps gets a lot of flack, too, saying he's giving away good fishing spots and baits. Ain't that what fishing content's supposed to be doing? As much as I dislike Randy, he's smart, knows how to get the clicks and make money, as wrong as it may be to stir stuff up for your game. And Dane Hunter says, I thought I was wrong once, but I was, and I was mistaken. Good Lord, Dane. Dane's on a roll today. You must not have to work tonight because you're up at this time of day. Are you off tonight? Josh Burris, Randy should pay y'all as much as he's talked about on here. He should, but he's an easy target. He's an easy target. But Slick's an easy target too. There's several of them out there that's an easy target. But again, it's not what Randy's saying. It's the comments. I go for the comments, and it's great. I thought it was interesting that Dillon said the grass on Chick stopped at a point where a certain creek or river came in. Got to be a pollutant killing that grass. So last night, so we can move on. But just guys, listen, just make sure at least you guys understand what the First Amendment is for and is not for. Okay, what it covers, what it does not cover. It's to protect you from the government censoring your freedom of speech. That's it. So a couple things up there in the comment section on YouTube, they're already talking about giving away spots and stuff and content and everything. We were talking about that. We're going to talk about that yesterday. I find it interesting that a lot of guys will fuss at, and this is one of my other pet peeves. Guys will fuss at other guys for showing spots on the lake just in the general area. They might not be talking about, hey guys, if you go to latitude this, longitude that, and throw right here, you're going to catch 10 fish because there's a big rock right here. That's one thing. On a small reservoir like Latham, one of our small electric-only reservoirs, that to me is a no-no. If you're on Lake Lanier or one of these big lakes, it's already a community hole anyway. Everybody knows about it. There is no secrets on a big lake. But guys that get mad at content creators, and some of our guys here, Dozer 21, I fished with Brian New his rookie year. It was pretty awesome. There you go. That's pretty cool. That's very cool. Some of the guys here that work with us on the podcast, they've encountered in their videos people fussing at them about burning spots. And you're right, Georgia Bassmaster, he's got a little bit. To me, I think it's weak. I think it's weak of the guys that are complaining. That's what I think. I think it's weak if you say, hey, take a certain creek up on a certain lake and you're up there and there's a guy that's been fishing that lake for 48 years and he's like, don't tell anybody about this spot. Like, good Lord, you are not the only one that knows about it. Yes, can you do damage if it's done the wrong way on YouTube? Yeah, maybe, but still, in general, looking down from 80,000 feet, it's not an issue. And the reason I say that is because I can go fishing with Farmer, and Farmer can show me the exact place to throw, the exact bait, because that's what he likes doing. What's up, Jeremy Rusher? That don't mean I can do it. It's hard to fish another man's game. Now, But with that being said, Danny, look at the publicity that O Ivy got after the Milliken video. But is it a public lake? Is it a public lake? I mean, couldn't you say that if you're watching a Bassmaster Elites on a lake or watching Lake Hartwell? A lot of people can realize that this guy is fishing around that dock and all that. It's no different. It's no different. Yeah, maybe it got blown up. He just woke up. Get up, dude. I've been up since 6. Come on. It's a public lake. Now, if you're on a private lake and you snuck into it, and now you're telling everybody, hey, sneak into this lake, that's different. But I just feel like people that complain about somebody showing a spot, they're weak. Could I be wrong? 100%. Here, what's our job here at Fish North Georgia? At least what it's supposed to be, is to help you guys catch more fish, to tell you guys what guys are throwing, to try to give you hints and tips and techniques so that you guys that aren't on the water every day, you might only get a weekend here, a weekend there, you're taking your kid out, can get out on the lake, and you can have some sort of confidence in trying to figure out what you're doing and to kind of ease that learning curve because you ain't got all the time in the world. I can't wait for this weekend. I'm going to the lake. Good for you, dude. Me too. Farmer, if you think you're a good angler, you will have more than one area on that lake that you can catch fish, for sure. Just because you have the spot doesn't mean you know how to fish it. But I just look at that person that's fussing, and I'm just sitting there thinking, like, listen, the majority of guys that are going to go to that spot don't know it as well as you. Probably can't fish it as well as you if you've been fishing it for 48 years. There's plenty of fish in that lake. We don't have a problem here in North Georgia with lack of fish. Now, let's take tournaments out of that. We're just talking about general public knowledge. I think the fact that people saying they're going to blow a spot up is really, really kind of, when somebody mentioned up there, what do I consider a small lake? You had like 3,200 acres and down. That's kind of small. I'm thinking more of the 1,000 acres and down electric only reservoirs, but I guess you could do it on a 3,200 acre lake. But to me, you're helping your fellow man, and that's more important in the long run than anything. I just started trying to learn the local river system, different animal. Yeah, it is. Educate. I've always been the person to teach. If I have the knowledge, you have it. That's the way it is. My casa, your casa, or whatever they say, something like that. I can tell you right now, guys, if you come in the shop, you ask me something, and I've heard it. The next person's going to know. That's just the way it is. I mean, because number one, I make my money helping people catch fish. I'm not making my mortgage payment on tournament winnings. Had a great day fly fishing yesterday, traveling fisherman. I bet you did up in Alaska. I just want to know if I make videos, should I tag the spot or not? To me, that's up to you. Now, somebody's going to fuss no matter what. Got a night tournament on Lanier this weekend, Saturday night out of Duckett Mill. Any juice? Well, Mike Geiger, I can just tell you just from experience, the green light, it ain't happening. And that's just from Farmer can tell you, it ain't happening. Go do something else. Danny is a parrot, as he should be. Cacao, absolutely. How do you feel about the Fish Tip app? I think you can buy information and waypoints on it. Well, listen, there's guys that have been selling waypoints long before Fish Tips came out. Long before that. I know when he started that thing, a lot of people got upset. But I think for guides, because the ones that use it, a lot of them are guides. It's a way to supplement their income by giving information. I don't have a problem with it. It's capitalism. Here's the thing about it. It's like anything. If the business is good, it's going to thrive. If the business is bad, it's going to go by the wayside, just like a guide. We've talked about it here before. Guides fussing about other guides on the lake, especially in there, 38,000 acres. There's room for everybody. If a guide is not doing a good job, he's not going to get return trips. He's not going to be in business long. You, do a good job for your customers, and you're going to be fine. I'm ready to throw hands with Farmer because he's giving up spots. It's because he's better than me at fishing. He picks on me about my netting skills. Lots of love, Danny. Going to sleep. Go to sleep. Yeah, I've heard about your netting skills. I just know I posted once of me catching a 40-inch striper on my local lake, and the next thing I know, I see 5 to 10 kayakers out there where I posted. Well, here's the problem. Look, here's the problem, real Michael. You put it out there, and you should know if you put it out there, that's a possibility. So, do you want the notoriety of being able? I'll be on Lanier striper fishing tonight. Go for it, baby. Let us know how you do. If you put a video out in the interwebs or whatever like that, hey, then it is what it is, right? Thad Moody, fish reloaded, more bass get turned back than kept. We need to keep more bass or ruin the lake if you don't take some bass out of it anyway. That gentleman right there, he's a fisheries biologist. And pros by waypoints too. We know a few guys. Listen, Ken Sturdivant up here on Lanier he's been selling waypoints for a lot longer than Fish Tips has been out. Now, I've looked at some of his waypoints. Everybody knows them already. The majority of them, everybody knows about them already. You look at GON Magazine. Every month, they got a lake. They take out an angler. Some of the guys in the comment section have done it. They know the angler. He goes and he gives them 10 spots, and he gives the latitude and the longitude of it. They're community holes. Everybody knows about it. Paul Benson, eat more bass. There's some lakes that need it. I hit that button. There are some lakes that really, honestly, seriously need, especially spots, especially spotted bass. Man, I done closed my daggum thing here. Here we go, bringing you guys back. Again, Randy B has maps for sale. A lot of guys do it. It's capitalism. It's capitalism. Is the way it is. I don't think when a guy goes out and makes a video on the Etowah River and he catches a big striper or a big spotted bass or a big catfish and puts it out there, he can't not expect somebody to not go to that spot and try it. I get it. But at the same time, hey, if you fish it often, you know the spots. Jason Nelson, 100%. It's way harder to catch other people's fish than you think. Paul Benson, absolutely, 100%. That's what I'm saying. You can't fish another man's game. Y'all quit talking. Listen, all you guys, Farmer did it with GON. He goes, and I gave all the community holes. And that's what they do anyway. All you guys up there that think Farmer is this big tough guy, Farmer's a teddy bear. Oh, he's a big old sweetie. I used to keep spots and give them to a man who would allow me to hunt his place. See, James Ramsey, that's what I'm talking about. That's good. Hey, you can daggum kind of, get some benefit out of it for sure. For sure. What did I say here? 14-inch bass and smaller make fantastic blackened fish tacos. 100%. Go to Lake Blue Ridge and catch all the spotted bass out of Lake Blue Ridge. I know somebody up there is going to get mad at me, but, man, we want those smallmouth to come back. Fishing USA, first time here at lunch. Spotted bass are actually delicious. Blue Ridge encourages it, and Alatoona is full of 10 and 12-inch fillets. There's not too many fish that taste better, especially blackened, and on a taco with some of that chipotle mayo sauce in there, a little pickled onions, some slaw, whatever you want to say, than a spotted bass. I'm telling you, spotted bass are absolutely fantastic table fare. Now, can you eat largemouth bass? If you want to, sure. I just think largemouth bass are a little kind of flaky. They're not quite as good as the spots. If you're going to eat them, eat spots. You may not catch another man's fish, but you can break up patterns and shift movement. Fish get conditioned to being fished for. Jeremiah, how much do you have to do that, though? 2 guys going to a spot right after that's not going to do it. 2,000 guys, yes. A few guys, no. But I can tell you right now, on Lake Lanier, you're talking about breaking up patterns. These guys got that lake pattern down. They can tell you where the fish are going to be at any time of the day, and they're there. And it gets hammered. Smaller lake, maybe. Grouper's on the top of my list besides halibut. Grouper's good. Hey, listen, they're good. Teddy bears are still bears. You don't want to make them mad. Listen, unless he's that kind of bear, John G. We got a little Brokeback Mountain going on right there. Is there a difference in the taste between a spot and a largie? I think so. I think the meat is firmer. I don't think it tastes as fishy. And I know that's crazy to say a fish tastes fishy, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Uh, Alex says, I fished the same hole every day for over 2 weeks before they finally shut down and stopped eating my bait. And Thad brings up a good point about fish. It depends on the water. It depends on where you're bringing that fish out of, 100%. You're fishing over there in the Coosa, maybe Weiss, where it's really dirty, hey, I don't think that's going to be as good as if you take it out of Burton or Chattooga. Pink snapper is my favorite fish. It's a very good one. Fish tastes better during the wintertime. Interesting you said that, because I had a fluke master, Gene Jensen, on one time, and we got talking about crappie fishing. Everybody loves to crappie fish. Well, not everybody, but you should. Everybody likes to eat crappie. If you don't, you should. He only keeps crappie that he catches during the coldest part of the year. If he catches crappie in the summertime, he does not keep them for two reasons. He doesn't think they taste as good. And he thinks they got worms and some kind of parasites during the summertime. I just remember him saying that. Uncle Misfit, thoughts on bleeding out fish or not? The fish around here, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't know about saltwater fish as much. Somebody in the comment section can jump in on that, but I don't think you really have to bleed out a spot or a brim or a crappie or anything like that. So I don't know, Uncle Misfit, to be honest with you. I'm not that in tuned. Salmon, you need to, or salmon, however you want to say it. I say salmon. I bleed my fish if I keep. Thad says, okay, so let me ask you, Thad, how do you bleed out a bass? Just out of curiosity, just so somebody's curious. How does one bleed out a bass? Throw it out there in the comments and I'll read it. Yellow perch are about the best tasting. And I can tell you, when we went to Michigan, you gill it. Yeah, you do gill it. When we went to Michigan to film for the Real American Road Trip, we did an episode where we were catching perch. Dude, Gene's an idiot. I hate that so many people love him so much. The guy is actually as selfish as they come. He may be, Alex. He may be. He's nice to me. He may be. But I do know that he keeps his crappie. He keeps his crappie in the wintertime. Let's see. Chris Johnson, 6'3", 6'9", opinion on forward facing for tournament fishing. Are you talking about the highest levels or what? At the highest level, I don't really care. I've changed my opinion on it with a couple things. Like when the NPFL banned it, I was really upset about it because a lot of the guys, I was friends with the NPFL guys. Now that I've had a chance to actually look at it with educated eyes, I think they made the right decision 100% for not only their trail, but I do like the fact of having the best of the best try not to use it. But if you're on Bassmaster and use it, I don't care. As long as the playing field's level. We talked about it yesterday. I know everybody's going, dang, Alex. Yesterday we talked about it like I think on the high school level, I think maybe not having it in high school. And the only reason I say it's not because of the technology, but because, again, level playing field. College, allow it if they want to. But, to each his own. To each his own. I mean, I said some really ugly, stupid stuff when the NPFL banned it, and that was just because, of some of my buddies. And then sat back and said, you know what? I got to look at this with the educated eyes. And after watching it, 100%. The best decision I think the NPFL could have made. And I enjoy watching it. But at the same time, when somebody says it's about the viewing and watching it on TV, listen, Patrick Walters fishes the elites and he fishes the NPFL. If he's got a camera on him, I'm looking at his ass on both of them. It don't really matter. I mean, I could pick Patrick Walters' butt out of a lineup, but you get what I'm saying. But I think, on the pros, let them do what they're going to do. High school, take it away. College, yes. And that's just Danny Pruitt's opinion, and that doesn't make it right. Let's see. No keeping bass on Lake Murray. On the way up to Saginaw to officiate for the BPT. Can't wait, Fat Bassin. Pretty cool. Chris Johnson said, let's see. Jason Nelson, learn the fish and use it as a tool. I hope BASS cuts it back some. Yeah. Now, listen, though, I will say this, Jason Nelson. I agree to learn to fish in the high school level, but I don't agree with some of the other people out in YouTube land that say you got to have 40 years experience before you're allowed to use it. You got to cut your teeth that long. Because I'm telling you, when I was 6 years old, I was eating dirt and just eating dirt. A 6-year-old today can launch a missile from another country with his iPhone. Okay, so I just think that the kids today are smarter than we were. They're just smarter. Um, let's see. Keep going. I don't I don't string in the summer because of gators. That's because you live in the bayou, dude. Yeah, I mean I wouldn't either. Some of the listen, I've lost a lot of fish on the stringer around here because of turtles. Back in the day, farm pond fishing, you got to be careful. Turtles. Um, let's see. I've seen some clubs allow LS during the season, but not allowed in the classic. I like that ruling. Well, listen though, I get that, but here's my question: why would you let somebody use it the entire time and then in the classic pull it back? I get why you like the ruling, but at that point, I'm like, just don't use it the entire year. Fish finder value guide, different kind of smart. I don't know what that comment is, and I don't know if it's to me or whatever, but I see that. I appreciate you joining us. Now, let's jump course a little bit. We can keep talking about this stuff if you guys want to in the comment section. But last night when Dillon, see, I've said his name 15 times, and it's still every time I think about saying it, it just feels like I just got a brain fart. Falardeau, guys, he just won up on Chesapeake. Qualified for the 2026 Bassmaster Classic. He was talking about when we finally we did his story and everything was totally cool, but then we got talking about techniques and stuff. I want your guys' opinion on this because he said something last night that just absolutely, like, I'm trying to wrap my brain about it. And I know he's good at it. I'm just trying to think. We talked about it a little bit after the show if I tried to do this. When he's dragging a bait, if he's dragging a jig or a worm, and with a bait caster, and he feels a bite, this is what he said. He clicks the bail, he pulls out 4 to 5 or whatever feet of line, re-engages his bail, then raises it up. If the fish is on it, crosses their eyes. Tony said, nope, not doing that technique. Tony, you heard it then last night. Now, listen, it's kind of hard to argue, if we're being honest, with a guy that guides for a living on Chickamauga, however you want to say that, and he's fishing the Bassmaster Classic. It's very hard to say, Dillon, you're crazy. Doug Rice, I'm still trying to digest that. I promise you, Saturday, when I'm on Kevin Underwood's boat, if I get a bite on a bait caster and I click my thing and I start pulling that line, he's going to look at me like, what are you doing? Atlanta Outdoors, to be fair, they have been taught how to use, he's talking about younger anglers, tech, me included, but I know plenty of people my age and younger that cannot do basic math without a calculator. Try teaching them to count change back. You're right, dude. You're right. I get it, man. I can't argue that at all. Had 3 fish spit a shaky head yesterday before I could even set the hook, and they were swimming. Jeremiah says, nah, Chief, by the time you set the hook, that bait is already coming out the other end. Okay, so that's kind of what we would think. Guys, this guy does it, and he does it all the time. If Clint was still on here, he's probably back at work. There was another guy that showed him that, and he talked about doing that, and it just being a perfect hook set every single time. I get it on a jig to an extent because the fish that are eating a jig are going to swallow it. But if I lose a jig doing that, I'm going to pull the boat plug. Well, listen, here's the thing. Here's the problem with me. When I first started jig fishing, and because I grew up Texas rigging in farm ponds, right? What's he throwing when he's doing that? We're talking jigs and worms. Dragging, stuff you're dragging on the bottom. That's probably something he picked up fishing as a kid and just worked for him. No, he was taught this by a guy named, it was Glenn or Gene. They were talking about it last night. Kind of like a person with a nervous tick, just a bad habit. No, he was talking about somebody last night that's in that group up there at Talk and Tackle up there, taught him that. They taught him to do this. So, farm pond fishing, Texas rig, back in the 80s and all that, you threw it out. You raised it up. You felt that bite. And then we would kind of lower the rod and watch our line take off. And we would let the fish swim with it. Greg Worsham. That's his name out. Greg. He learned it from Greg Worsham. But when I first started throwing a jig, I would do that. I would raise the rod up, feel that and then just out of habit, bad habit as it is, I would wait and let that thing take off, running it, doing the count like Jason Nelson says on TikTok. And then I'd feel that again the second time, and I'd set the hook. Well, with a jig, a lot of guys will tell you around here, the first time you feel that, you better set the hook, because the second time you feel that little vibration in your rod, that's them spitting it out. And I don't know. I don't know. This is what he was saying last night, and it was just kind of like, I'm trying to process that in my mind of actually, first of all, clicking my bail open, then pulling out line, and then re-engaging my bail. Now, I'm probably like a lot of you. I'm not going to be fishing the Bassmaster Classic anytime soon. All right? Paul Benson and them are not going to call me and say, Danny, you want to fish the NPFL? It's not going to happen. What I envision in my mind is the first time I try to do that is clicking the bail open, pulling out line, and then just trying to rock that daggum fish without closing my bail back and just absolutely blowing up my reel. Because that's what's going to happen. I can tell you right now with me, that's what's going to happen. I want a video the first time you do it and go to set the hook. Backlash to follow. 100%. And yeah, Alex says he does it with frogs too. Click the bail, raise the rod. He raises the rod to get slack in his line. Then he lowers it down, reels up the slack, and then lets him have it. This is what he was talking about last night. Now, with the frog, Alex, I think we all get it because we talked about that last night too. Top water bite, frog bite, we see the blow up. What's the first thing that 90% of all of us do? And it's the reason why we're not pros. We ain't got patience. We go to set the hook, and that buzz bait or that frog is coming right by our head at 125 miles an hour or Mach 2 or whatever it is, and you just hear it, and it lands about 30 feet behind you on the other side. And then you're going, I can't believe I missed that fish. I can't believe I missed that fish. I get it on the frog because they do it for patience. Let the frog get down in its mouth, get its mouth shut, set the hook. But with a worm or a jig is what I cannot fathom. I find that to be one of the more interesting techniques. Coleman Jones, best advice I think I've ever got was a hook sets are free. Yeah, they are. Farmer says count 1, 2, then swing. Broke Bass Boy says I can see myself doing all of that just to dig my jig into a tree. Or a 3. You might have said 3-pounder, but you said you typed a tree pounder. But that's if it's a tree, yeah, I could do that. The fish I was catching on Sunday, I swung on the bite, and they all had the bait in their throat. Tony says I had an old partner that would say, there he is, and proceed to walk from the front to the back of the boat. Fish were always bleeding by the time we got the hook out. Well, I asked him that. You remember I asked him that last night. I'm like, don't you have a problem with getting it deep? Because when I was fishing with Alex on Latham Saturday, no tree pounder. When I was fishing with Alex on Latham Saturday, I'm telling you, the first time I felt it, because I was with a spinning reel, throwing that chicken rig, and I'd raise up, if my rod was low, I just went straight on back into them. And every one of them was deep. And that was no waiting and all that. I kind of feel like I don't know, maybe it's just the way they were hitting that day, like they were coming up behind it and just sucking it straight up like a vacuum, pulling it right into the back of their throat. If you ever watch Paul Marks Jr. set the hook, he reels hard and walks back simultaneously. You don't see him swing on them. I have to go back and watch Paul, see what all he's doing. But I wonder too, Coleman, is that because he's mentoring and he's got an open hook? Is that him doing it with a power technique? Hook sets are free and they make lure retrievers. And finally, listen, I get to try this. I did this right twice last night, you guys on TikTok, without absolutely killing the live. So we're going to see if I can do it again today. I got to type in my code real quick. Technology. All right. Then we're going to go back to the live. Y'all hear that? Me trying to press these buttons and resume the live. Look at there. Didn't lose anybody. So anyway, all right. So you guys are back on that. Yeah, Paul's fishing a spinning rod when you see him do that. I think so. Now he was doing it with a shaky head. Well, see, now a lot of them guys too. Here's what a lot of people don't realize too. Everybody thinks because they're out there scoping and they're out there in open water that they're throwing minnows. You'd be surprised at how many of them are throwing a shaky head. They're throwing a shaky head down there, and letting those schooling spots or whatever follow the shaky head down or hitting it on the fall. I feel like when they are chewing hard, you better set fast before they take it deep. Sounds like good marriage advice from Doug Rice. Broke Bass Boys. Messick, I couldn't tell you via graph, but when I fished the tournament Saturday, and when I caught the fish, they were piled up. And then Tim Gossett says, Messick Outdoors dad does the flipping the bell thing on his worm. Or let's see, on his worms. And yeah, I learned a few tricks on the shaky head watching Paul. Emil Wagner throws a shaky head down there a lot more than you think when he's out there scoping. A lot of them do. Now, is that because they've seen so many minnows in the last 2 years? I don't know. Thad says, just started scoping. Big glide, spinner baits, and shaky heads have been my best catchers, along with letting a wacky rig sink slowly down to him. You can't go wrong with the wacky rig, dude. Jig and worm, your big hook set is to drive a big hook into their mouth. You are also pulling them out of the cover doing that. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It was a couple things that he said last night. That and his theory on scents. Big scent guy. He said he uses that thump gel and everything. But what he said in the details, if you caught it in the details, is he's using, it does take a wacky a while to sink 20 feet. I throw him over a 45-foot brush pile on there. And in the wintertime, and I'll just sit, eat a sandwich, call my wife. But oftentimes, more often than not, that thing never makes it to the bottom. Them spots come out. They'll come up. I use WD-40 dozer said. We're talking about scents. Yeah, a lot of people did back in the day, and some people still do. Used to on an old can, it would say fish attractant. It does not say it on the new cans, but if you find an old can, like in an antique store, look at it. It says fish attractant. How they figured that out, I don't know. That's right, Doug Rice. He said to cover his scent. He does not use scents on his baits to mimic a crawfish or whatever, even though it might be just an actual byproduct of it. He tries to cover his human scent on his baits. Now, is that human taste, human scent, whatever? Because I'm still, and he said he used it on everything. If you remember that, he said everything. I still, in my mind, can't wrap using scents as far as attracting fish on crankbaits, spinner baits, fast-moving baits, because I think those are reaction bites. I get it on the slow one. Now, I can get it where when they actually bite it, they may hold on to it longer because that maybe it tastes right. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Seems like thump gel works considering Haddon's only has one left. It sells. Here's a secret tip. Rob Robleski. Pee on your bait. Guarantee you'll catch them. Now, you guys, a lot of you guys ever watched baseball? If you did, you remember Moises Alou? Played for Chicago and all that back in the day. Do you know that before games, he would pee on his hands? Before every game, he would pee on his hand. You know why? Because it said it kept his skin from cracking. Don't ask me if that's true or not. I just know that Moises Alou would pee on his hand. And then Mark Grace had what was called a slump buster. If you guys want to know what a slump buster is, if Mark Grace was in a slump, wasn't hitting for a month or so, which didn't happen often, whatever town he was in, he'd go to a bar. And he would pick up the biggest girl in the bar, have a night with her, and generally, it's in his book, generally that would break his slump. That is a Mark Grace slump buster. Dozer says it cures pink eye too. I know you can do it if you get stung by what, a Portuguese man of war or something like that. Hey, the slump buster is true, Carson Fowler said. Have you tried that? Have you tried it? Broke Bass Boy says, I use thump gel on my cranks when it suspends during the crank pause. It helps catch them. I can't argue against that. I can't. Doug Rice, I use garlic only. Not sure it gets more bites, but I think they hold on to it longer. And Slick Johnson has joined us over there in TikTok. Slick, we talked about you earlier. We were talking about your little episode that you got going on, your video and all that. But he says he's been doing it wrong all day. Let's see. I've been doing it wrong all along. You talking about the slump buster? Or you talking about sense? Huh? Which one are you talking about? But I used to spit tobacco juice on catawba worms before throwing them in. Hey, listen, I don't know. But I still ain't understand garlic. And I know that guy said he's going to bring me a shad. I think Aaron Parker, if you're still on there, he said if I would bite into a live shad, it would taste like garlic. I just think he's saying that to get me to bite into a live shad. I don't know about it for sure, but I'm going to do it. If somebody will bring one up here during the Livewell, I will bite into one. Teammate in college was struggling. He picked up this old bruiser for a girl on the softball team. Next game, he hit a 3-run shot. So, guys, listen, if your tournaments aren't going the way that they need to be, you need to go pull your slump buster. All right. Is there a slump buster alternative for married men? Please share. Maybe put on some women's pajamas next time you're in bed with her. I don't know, dude. I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe y'all got to switch roles. What's your fantasy fishing lineup look like? As in, for what? You want I don't play fantasy fishing, but if you're asking me what my top, bourbon, yeah, bourbon, your non-dominant hand. There you go. Tony Collum said that. It's like you're cheating on the other one. Dane Hunter, prayers for all of Fort Stewart, Georgia. Active shooter situation is now over, but multiple soldiers, people shot. Base is on lockdown. Absolutely, Dane. Haven't, of course, been on this. Haven't heard that, but guys, yeah, y'all keep those in your thoughts and prayers right there. Fort Stewart, Georgia. When you say your picks, like how many picks you want and which league? Like you asking me who my favorites are, who I would pick if I had to pick like 3 of the 4 best ones to fish and everything, because that would make a difference. So if that's what you want, I'll throw some out there, and I might, we'll see if that's what you want me to do. Switching hands, we will give it a shot. I need the juice, Danny. No chance I'm switching roles. You have to look at the brackets. I don't even know listen, I don't, Chris, I have to go find them. I don't play fantasy fishing. I tell you who I would, since you don't play, who's your top 5? I tell you who my favorites are, because top 5, I don't think you ever go against Kyle Welcher in anything. I mean, are you talking MLF or are you talking elites? Are you talking about all across the board? Because, I mean, again, I don't watch MLF as much as I should. I need to learn them a little bit more. So let's just go elites. Okay, on the elites, Trey McKinney, Patrick Walters, Kyle Welcher, Drew Cook. That's a tough one. Who would be my 5th one? Well, see, Hackney. Yeah, but Hackney, I don't know. If you're talking top 5 of all time, or it depends on where they're fishing too. So they're up north again. Ain't they got one more up north? Man, I don't know. Maybe one of the Johnson brothers. That's tough. I'd have to see them. It depends on the lake. I think, I saw, Cook win the NPFL event. I'm telling you, a lot of people love him, a lot of people don't. But Trey McKinney's, dude, the kid's a hammer. Trey McKinney is a hammer, no matter where he's at. And maybe he's got maybe he's got me fooled or something. But I would have a hard time ever going against him right now in a tournament. Switching hands to give it a shot. I'll throw bare hooks just to have an excuse for a slump buster now. Now listen. You're married, James. You can't do that. I don't think Mark Grace was married. Is that all it takes, is switching hands on our spinning reels? Right there. Honestly, he should have won the AOI last year. A lot of people can argue that, yeah. But, like I said, they're not going to Florida. They're not going to Texas next year. I mean, you got to look at the lake and just see. Trey and Easton both fished good this year. Easton did. Good kid, both of them. It's just, and that's why when you pick these fantasy picks, my son does it with football and all that. And he likes to do sport betting. And he'll do a 5, Paul Marks is good. Yeah. Chris Akins. I should have said Paul. I don't know if Paul is to the point yet of being like top 5 on it, but dang, if he's not close, he's hot right now. And I think Paul is a good, versatile fisherman. And I think Emil is too. I think just right now, everything's played a little bit more in Paul's wheelhouse. Like I'll tell you this, if I had to pick one angler right now on the elites, and I'm not going to say to save my life or to, let's just say to get me out of trouble, like they had to win a tournament on any given body of water, playing by the elites rules, else something bad's going to happen to me, I'd probably pick McKinney. And I know that's, there's a lot of great talent there, and some people are probably like rolling their eyes and all that, but man, I don't know. I don't know. He's consistent. He's consistent. So I would probably do that. I know some of the old timers are rolling their eyes, and like I love some of the old timers on that. Kyle Welcher's another one. Kyle Welcher is one that can fish anywhere, anytime, any technique. That's just me. If I could get on the boat with a couple of elites and just watch what they do, Kyle Welcher would be one. I'd go with Drew Cook for sight fishing. I'd go with Drew Cook for sight fishing. I would go with Trey McKinney just because, and you can say scoping or whatever, but the kid can do anything. But he's a master at his age and all that, whether you like him or not. I know a lot of people don't like him. I've had very good interactions with Trey McKinney. We know if Danny switches hands, he does it upside down. That's right. Listen, it's kind of like my hand's got multiple personalities. But that's tough. One of these days, keep an eye on my buddy Clint Knight. I'm hoping he finishes top 10 in the EQs. All right, we're going to write that name down and keep up with him and all that. Clint Knight. So anyway, so with that, let's see. Look at you guys over in the comment section. They're tearing me up over here on YouTube and all that with a slump buster. My wife knows what a slump buster is because I talked about it before like that. If she knew I was talking about slump buster, she might be mad at me. But anyway, so it is what it is. Now, though, when it comes to the scents, though, let's get back on that. Maybe you got to use the back door. Don't tell that to Farmer. Don't tell that to Farmer. And that's an inside joke. But just don't tell that to Farmer. Broke Bass Boys are trying to keep Danny from getting banned on TikTok. That's why, listen, one thing about that is it is keeping me on my best behavior. It is keeping me on my best behavior. You guys should have noticed that in the last 2 weeks, I have been a lot more steady. Oh, boy, here we go. I'm still proud of Danny's skipping skills, how far they've come. I actually skipped a jig under some trees the other day without blowing up my rod. A couple times, and then I blew it up. Now, I still have not attempted to do a dock yet. And the good thing about fishing with Underwood this Saturday is I don't think we're going to be fishing docks on Lanier. I really hope not. Now, we might fish some seawalls, some marinas. Yeah, that's right. Yum, yum, baby. We might do some of that, but I don't think we're going to be in the back of pockets. You fish Kentucky Lake, Danny? No, I have not. Listen, I don't get out of Georgia much unless I'm traveling for the TV show. I'd like to fish Kentucky Lake. Once I get this shop built and other people can come work it, once they can come work it, while I have time to go fishing, then definitely I'd like to get up there and fish it. Let's try this again. All right, so I think we're still going. I heard Danny likes to do COVID tests on the boat. If Danny sneezes, he'll get banned on TikTok. We're getting the civilized version now. I skipped under trees before the dock is brave. No, they were, listen, those trees were up there. Those trees were up there. I got to hit this button again. 2, 4. Y'all want to know my passcodes? Let me put them out there on the internet. Hold on one more time. I'm getting ready to do this one last time. All right, resume. All right, there we go. At least I don't have to get up. So anyway, no, I haven't fished Kentucky Lake. What if you guys could fish one lake? What would it be? Like one lake you haven't fished. What would you like to fish? Toss that tactical fishing swagger stick. I bet Tony or Alex has some you can borrow. I'm getting tactical fishing in the shop. So we're gonna be placing an order with that. We're gonna be placing an order with 706 baits out of South Georgia. I've got the Magnum Bait Company. I got their list in. We're gonna be bringing a lot more of those in. Okeechobee, that's a good one. Lake Fork is a good one. Interesting. I think, I'd like to fish Gunnersville again, even though I've been there in some better weather at a better time. That would be good. But man, I want to go up north. I know you guys say Lake Fork, but I want to go up north where they're catching all them smallmouth where it gets crazy. As long as it's not 6-foot rollers, because I'll get seasick. I will. I mean, I will have to take. I'm not good at skipping, but aiming like that. Falcon in its heyday. 706 does awesome work. Yeah. Hey, you going to bring out those Lake Map T-shirts again? You know what, Carson? I got them on the site. They're just not active. I probably can look into that today and get them back up. That's pretty cool. Uh, Bushy Break. I don't know. Are you talking about Brushy Branch, Fred Ashcraft, or is Bushy Beak a serious place? Champlain. Yeah, one of those kind of lakes. That's where I would like to go. Well, tell me time and place, Danny, and we'll hit Gunnersville. We need to, but we got to do it when they're supposed to be hitting. And, like when it makes it easy on me because it just wasn't great weather when we were there. Clear Lake. John G., that's a good one out in old California. I'd like to fish Lake Conroe just to get McDonald's while on the water. Can you do that on Conroe? Hey, listen, how come we don't have any drive-throughs here on Lake Lanier? Of all the lakes that's got bougie people, you think we'd have a drive-through. I'm going to set up a trip with Outer Realm for up north. We talked about it at ICAST. Oh, okay. No, Bussy Break in Louisiana. Okay, I got you. That would be pretty cool. It's kind of like hunting. Best smallmouth fishing I've ever experienced, Lake Champlain in Vermont, says the traveling fisherman. They got a McDonald's pickup at the dock on Conroe. Okay. That wouldn't do good for my diet, but that would be pretty cool and convenient as well. Now, let me ask you this. Does it cost more? Because I went with Farmer to the Marina Athens Boat Club the other day, and sure enough, I just say the non-ethanol gas is a little bit more expensive on the water than it is at a regular store. Sam Rayburn, Texas, Ron McQueen said, yeah. Oh, and Ron, throw me some days next week that you were free if you guys want to get together and talk about the tournament in December. Just text me some days and let me see if they work with my schedule. And I'll pick one. We'll pick a day, whichever one you guys are free. All right. So with that, I'm not going to go as long today. Because I got a lot of stuff I got to do. Always costs more to Marina, for sure. I used to get ice cream at McDonald's on Conroe every time I left my parents. Uncle Misfit. That's awesome, dude. I didn't even know that was a thing, if I'm being honest with you. If you're having a bad tournament, you go to the McDonald's, you get you an ice cream, maybe find you a slump buster there. Just take a little time in the bathroom. And whatever it is, whatever gets you back out on the water and catching fish. So you have a good day there, Dozer 21. So, yeah, I'm going to end it a little early today. Got some stuff to do. Now, tomorrow we'll be back at 12 with another lunch break. Tomorrow night, Matt O'Connell, if you know him, I always tease him, prettiest hair in the business. Now, he's got some good locks. But seriously, very, very good angler. He's on the cast team, still working his way up, trying to get into professional ranks and all that. Guy's versatile, very versatile. And so bring your comments and questions for him tomorrow night, and we'll figure out what we're going to talk about on the Livewell. On the Port Royal has a restaurant. They do. But on the lunch break tomorrow, I'm sure something will happen between now and 12 o'clock tomorrow that's going to pique my interest, and we'll figure it all out. So you guys, here's a great thing. I got that app on my phone, so now I can end the live on TikTok without having to get up. So you guys have a great rest of your day. All right, and make sure you join us tomorrow. And again, if you need to get in touch with me for anything, you can email me, danny@fngo.com. And like a couple guys did yesterday, Doug over here on YouTube, the traveling fisherman got his contact and all that. So we can kind of get up, maybe collab, do some stuff together and all that. That's danny@fngo.com. Anyway, guys, you enjoy the rest of your hump day. Get through this. It's all downhill the rest of the way till we start fishing this weekend. And I'll help you guys get through it the best I can. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. And good show. Absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys being here. You guys have fun. Let me get rid of YouTube guys first. We'll see you guys later. And they're gone.